Welcome to Keith Knight, Don't Tread on Anyone in the Libertarian Institute. Today I'm joined by Gary Yourofsky, a prominent animal rights activist who from 1998 to 2015 delivered over 2,600 lectures to more than 60,000 people across 186 schools in 30 states. He is partnered up with the Sanctuary and Safe Haven for Animals, also known as Sasha Farm. Mr. Yourofsky, what do you guys do at Sasha Farm?
We rescue exploited animals, animals who have been commodified and turned into property. So these animals have escaped the slaughterhouse industry, the feedlots, the factory farms. And it's a place where they can be themselves for the first time, where they're not viewed as shoes and steaks and hamburgers and buckets of chicken wings. It's so nice to see a place like this exist. And there are a lot of sanctuaries all over the world. Sasha Farm isn't the only one, but it's the one closest to me, near and dear to me. I've been going there for around 30 years since I became vegan in 96. They always have around 200 rescued animals: cows, pigs, chickens, and turkeys, goats and sheep, horses and donkeys. We once had an ostrich named Hannibal as well. So we'll rescue any animal who needs a home, and we can use some donations. Sasha Farm is normally fine. They bring in about 250,000 a year, and that's what they need to run the place. Here's the problem, because I'm very open about everything, not a politician, as I told you before we got started. The old owner is retiring. And instead of gifting the farm to the new generation, he's demanding that we pay him for the 50 acres of land that Sasha Farm sits on. Well, those 50 acres, and we checked it out with a real estate agent, goes for $675,000. We negotiated a 5-year contract so we can raise the money. So that's why I am out desperately asking people to send what you can. And if you're close by, you should also visit. You should visit the sanctuary. We always need volunteers. It's very gratifying work to go out there and help these animals. And the coolest thing, too, for the vegans who are listening and for the non-vegans, I used to bring a lot of non-vegans there to see the animals that they're exploiting, see the animals that they're eating. And I would tell my friends, and these were friends of mine, walk up to that pig and tell him that he's nothing but a piece of bacon. And none of my friends could do it. They're like, man, this is terrible. I'm like, I know, that's why I'm vegan. Go look at these animals that you never see, that you've commodified, that you've hidden away, and you turned into a piece of meat. So, and for the vegans out there, most vegans never visit the animals that they're always talking about. In fact, when I started in 96, I had been vegan, for that whole year almost. And I went and saw these animals and noticed they were individuals. They had their own personalities, just like all human beings I met, and just like all the dogs and cats that I've met over the years, or the horses that I met. Some of them want to be petted, some of them don't. Some of them are friendly, some of them aren't, just like everybody else. So check out sashafarm.org, make a donation. I would appreciate that. And if any of my haters are out there listening, I don't receive compensation from Sasha Farm. Everything goes to them. You can even send a donation in and say, hey, here's $100 for the animals. Gary sucks. That's fine. Just send in the money for the animals.
I was reading a book about the Great War from 1914 to 1919 in Europe, and it was amazing to read about the mass slaughter of horses that took place in these battles. One, hearing the statistics, the very large numbers, and hearing the individual stories of horses getting shot, suffering, the noises that they make, and it was sort of traumatizing. And as I'm like, oh gosh, what a tragedy on top of a tragedy, a war, the contradiction hit me immediately that here I am talking about horses 100 years ago, feeling sorry for them, while I unapologetically have embraced the carnivore diet. So that's why I wanted to have you on. Why do you think there is, in people like me, such a blatant contradiction when we see horses, dogs, and cats, virtuous animals to be loved and respected, keep them around your house, and there's other animals that should be put in a category of birth them to send them to the slaughterhouse to fatten them up and then kill them for food? Why do you think there's such a contradiction?
We've been conditioned, Keith. It happened to me too for 26 years of my life. Very few vegans have been born or have been lucky enough to have been raised vegan. So we've been conditioned, we've been programmed, we've been brainwashed to say, hey, dogs and cats, at least in this part of the world, they're cool. They're our friends. Be nice to them. And horses are pretty cool too. And think about this. We also like whales and dolphins and sloths and capybaras and giraffes. You'll notice all the animals that we don't eat, we don't wear, that we don't exploit. It's easy to love them. But then other animals, cows, pigs, chickens, and turkeys, we've been told they're food. They don't count. They don't matter. They don't even think. They don't even have a brain. I mean, think how deep that conditioning goes. And now think about all the aspects, all the angles in our society. So, first and foremost, our parents teach us this. Now, I don't think it's malicious from our parents. Our parents were lied to by their parents, but we've all been lied to by religion. Religions constantly push that animals don't matter, that humans are the crown of creation, the image of God, and we can do what we want with these creatures. The media tells us all the time when you turn on the news, all the commercials, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, KFC, and you'll notice they don't show slaughterhouse images when they're pushing McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's and KFC. It's cartoon caricatures of animals. They make us think like, oh, animals are happy to be food. Animals are happy to have their babies stolen. Male animals are happy to have to actually be electro ejaculated by the meat and dairy industry to obtain their sperm, so we can take that sperm and artificially impregnate the female animals and then steal their babies. Our government tells us this is okay. It pushes it. The USDA and all the other agencies, they're not out to help animals, to not oppress animals. They're telling us to oppress animals. And then when we're growing up, how about this? Our parents, or at least Ronald McDonald, do you believe in the 60s and 70s, Ronald McDonald was told that when he went and did his traveling engagements, when kids asked where hamburgers came from, his response was hamburger patches. So we've been lied to since we were kids, from hamburgers growing hamburger patches, and everything about our lives growing up is actually a lie, or Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy, Easter Bunny, where everything we teach kids is a lie. Then we wonder why when we grow up we're so fucked up and we don't understand what's really going on in the world. We've been duped, we've been lied to. So I was fortunate enough that I came across an incident in my life that opened my eyes, and then I made a promise to that elephant in the circus. My stepdad was a clown in the Shrine Circus, no joke. He takes me backstage. He invites me to see the elephants. It blows me away that these elephants are in chains in the warehouse area of the Michigan State Fairgrounds. So it makes me go investigate the Eastern Market, Detroit area, where Thornapple Valley used to have their pig slaughterhouse. All of a sudden, I'm seeing all this abuse, all this oppression, all this exploitation. And I made promises that I would tell everyone else that I could. So that's what I do. I go out and I try to inform people. Wait a second. Everybody claims to be an ethical person. I thought I was an animal lover. I thought I was ethical. And then I looked in the refrigerator, dead, cut up animals. I thought about what was in my stomach, corpses of animals. I thought about the shoes I was wearing, somebody else's skin. If those shoes were made of dog skin, I'd be repulsed. If they were made of human skin, I'd be repulsed. All of a sudden, they're cow skin, and I think, oh, it's normal and natural. And that's one of the saddest parts about what we do to these animals. We don't even see animals for who they are anymore. Nobody looks at a cow and sees a cow. They see a pair of shoes, a baseball glove, a briefcase, a steak. Nobody sees a chicken as a chicken anymore. They see a bucket of wings. Nobody sees a turkey anymore as a turkey. It's a Thanksgiving celebration. So the programming runs deep. The brainwashing runs deep, and it's hard to deprogram and unbrainwash people. But if people give me an open mind, like you're giving me right now, I think it'll make sense. I think I can piece everything together for you and let you know it's time to come into alignment with your ethics. Everybody, again, says they're an ethical, moral individual. Well, in order to achieve high heights of ethicality and morality, we have to open our circles of compassion to the animal kingdom. And there's nothing like experiencing love from an animal. We've all, at least most of us, have experienced love from a dog or a cat. I'm telling you, when you get to a sanctuary and a cow comes up to you and starts licking your hand, when a chicken wants to snuggle up next to you, or a pig wants to roll over on his belly because they love belly rubs. Oh my God, if you go online and punch in my name and punch in Sasha Farm belly rubs, you can see me rubbing the belly of a 600-pound pig, and he's in heaven. And it made me think, why do we just ignore these creatures so much, all their feelings, all their emotions, and why do we turn them into commodities? So veganism, the vegan ethic, the principle of not exploiting animals, that is how I live my life, and that's how all the vegans are living their lives. And I hope you choose that way too, my man. There's no need
Well,
to be defiant against this issue. It always amazes me, and I'm not saying you are in any way. You're talking to me and listening to me, but over the years, it always bothered me that people sometimes would be defiant. No, steal their babies. No, cut their horns off while they're fully conscious. Sear their beaks off while they're fully conscious. Because we put, what, 30,000, 50,000 birds in a factory farm and they start to fight each other. So we cut their beaks off so they can't damage the flesh. I mean, this is where the industry has taken it. They've learned how to commodify animals precisely these days. In fact, they know how many animals they can mass produce, which is how many animals they can sell. So when I tell people that on this planet, 63 billion land animals are being created, enslaved, and murdered by the meat industry. That's how many animals they can sell. They got it down to a science, and that's pretty obscene to me too. That we're mass producing these animals. They've all been genetically engineered.
I want to start at a really basic level. This way, we could get the foundations of your argument and then go step by step and see where the divergence is, if any, between you and anyone who believes it's justifiable to kill and eat animals. So, what is the moral difference between killing and eating a cucumber versus killing and eating a chicken?
Well, chickens and all animals are sentient beings. They have a central nervous system. They suffer and they feel pain. Plants, vegetables, fruits, lentils, beans, these are insentient beings that have been put on this earth for us to eat. There's no pain and suffering involved whatsoever. Something I like to tell people lately when they bring up the plant stuff is, because I used to get this all the time, Keith. If a baby was drowning and a chicken was drowning, who would you save, Gary? Well, if a chicken was drowning and a tomato was drowning, would you jump in the lake to save the tomato or the cucumber? Let's not be silly when we talk about what animals are going through, pain and suffering. They're aware. Cucumbers are not aware.
Very good point. So the central premise is these beings feel pain. This pain is inflicted on them unnecessarily by humans who have other options, which are things like plants to consume. Totally get that. How do you know that animals feel pain?
Well, they scream, they yell, they try to run away if they ever get a chance. We actually had an animal at Sasha Farm named Jefferson. Why was he named Jefferson? Well, he was at the Albadere Slaughterhouse in Eastern Market, Detroit, and the door was left open for 5 or 10 seconds, and he bolted out the back door. He ran down Jefferson Avenue, so we called him Jefferson. If they had a chance, if there was a chute leading to the slaughterhouse floor and a chute leading to a field, not even accidentally would a cow, pig, chicken, or turkey walk down the chute to the slaughterhouse floor. They can smell death and fear. They know right from wrong. They can sense what's good and bad, and they want out. They want away. And you can just again listen to their screams. You could look at their body movements. For instance, I'll even bring up just the elephant in the circus. When I first saw him in 1993, he was swaying back and forth neurotically. Well, I later found out that's a neurotic behavior animals get from being kept in chains. In fact, it's so similar to humans. You know what kids in orphanages do most of the time? They rock back and forth. So, same neurotic behavior, no love, no natural environment, no family. And elephants in the wild walk 20 to 50 miles a day. There's not a circus on this planet that can accommodate that behavior. So, all these animals come up with neurotic behaviors. You probably know some of my past. I went to a mink concentration camp in Blenheim, Ontario in 1997 and gave 1,542 mink a chance to be free, freed them from the fur industry. They're going to have their necks broken manually and the skin ripped off their bodies. But those mink were going like this. It's called screw neck, round and round. So all the neurotic behaviors animals get, and you can just listen and you can sense it too. I was a meat eater when I was going to Thornapple Valley Pig Slaughterhouse. I didn't make the change yet. I can sense it. I could look in their eyes. You know, there was a truck. I got to tell you, Keith, there was a truck full of pigs the first day I went, still as a meat eater, wanting to investigate. And I remember looking in, peering into this truck, and their eyes were looking back at me. And I swear they were saying, "Why are you doing this to us? What did we do to you?" In my head, I'm answering, "I don't know. I don't know why we're doing this to you." As a meat eater, tears rolling down my face, still a stubborn, selfish meat eater going, "I'm not changing, but this is wrong." And I could sense the fear in the air. You know, fear has a horrible smell. And as soon as I got to this area, this six block acre area, 6 blocks of a slaughterhouses in Eastern Market, man, it was just the hair on the back of my neck stood up. I mean, it was like the devil was present. There was no God at a slaughterhouse, I'll tell you that.
When it comes to discussing these ideas with people who are not familiar with them, what has been most effective? Is it the logical argument of you wouldn't kill and eat your dog? Why would you do that to a chicken? Or is it showing them the actual footage of what takes place? What do you think really sticks with people more frequently?
I got to tell you the truth. The one thing I heard from all the professors was we never heard anybody so open and honest and willing to discuss what they believe. You really aren't a politician, Gary. And I said, I'm not. And I'm not here to collect money. I don't want to collect your emails. I just want to take your blinders off. Give me 60 minutes and let me explain this to you in the most truthful way. Now, I don't know exactly what connects with each individual. People are different. Some people, I have to say, how come you call some animals pets and others food? So I do bring up, hey, well, you wouldn't eat your dog. Why would you eat a cow? And besides a couple 1,000 pounds, what's the difference between a cow and a dog? Sometimes it's pure logic. You know, what are we doing to these beings? Why are we stealing their babies? I've been breaking this down lately to people, and this is not a riddle. You can play along with me. Black woman, white woman, Asian woman, Latino woman, they're all pregnant. They have a baby. Whose baby is it? Theirs, of course. Okay. Cow, pig, chicken, turkey has a baby. Whose baby is it? The meat eaters, the meat industries. After 29 years of being vegan, I now think baby stealing is the worst thing and the most evil thing that we do to these creatures. We think that their babies belong to us. So sometimes that works. Sometimes it's the health angle. Now, I want to be clear about this. Veganism is about an ethical principle, about not wanting to exploit animals. Okay, but sometimes people want to hear about the health benefits. I'll talk about them too. I know that I've never turned on the 5 o'clock news and heard this story. John Smith had a heart attack today. What happened to John? Oh, he ate too many plums. He was always walking around with a bag of blueberries, and the blueberries got to him. Nobody clogs their arteries from blueberries. Nobody gets cancer from eating broccoli. So maybe it's the health angle. But as I bring this up, I want to be clear. Anyone susceptible to getting sick, because there are a lot of things going on in the world. So just because you're vegan doesn't mean you're not going to become ill. Stress, insomnia, chemicals in the environment, smoking cigarettes, drinking too much alcohol. There are a lot of other factors at play. But to reduce your risk, it would be wise to remove meat, cheese, milk, and eggs, things that are extremely high in fat, animal protein, the wrong protein to bring into our body. So maybe it's the health angle. Maybe it's the environmental angle. How about this one? 50% of all the crops on this planet are used to feed the animals that people eat. Meanwhile, every 2 or 3 seconds, some human dies from starvation. I hear this a lot, Gary. Oh, but humans are more important. Well, my response is then how come you'd rather feed chickens? Chickens never miss a meal. Turkeys and cows and pigs never miss a meal in the meat, dairy, and egg industries. But humans are missing meals. In America, we take 90% of the soy, 80% of the corn, 70% of the oats, and that's animal feed. We feed it to the animals instead of feeding human beings. So there are a lot of different angles. Maybe it's humor. You know, there was a section in my speech I realized that I had to use some sarcastic humor, like George Carlin, one of my favorite people ever on the planet. Sometimes it's, how come you guys engage in bestiality? You squeeze cow nipples to extract secretions. You guys have a bird ass fetish. Everything has to come out of a bird's ass. You want an egg that comes out of a bird's ass. On Thanksgiving, you take breading and shove it into a turkey's ass. So I would get the crowd laughing, but there's truth in sarcasm. There's truth in humor. I don't know what it is. I wish I knew exactly what made somebody understand. I just know that that 60, 70-minute speech that's online, that's gone viral, the best speech you'll ever hear, my Georgia Tech speech from 2010, that works. That speech, for whatever reason, I was in my prime. I've been lecturing for 8 years already. I pieced it together. I'm like, I think I have the perfect formula now. Like this should make everybody get it. And what I heard from people too, especially after they changed, all the students would come up and say, "Man, I had so many questions as you were speaking, and then you answered them." And I said, I know, because I used to be you. Stop acting like I was born this way. Because as I was putting the speech together in my head, I'm thinking, wait, what would I say now? Wait, I'd probably say this now. I better answer this and I better answer that. So I tried to cover all the bases. And if you listen with an open mind, it really should make sense. Now, of course, I would insist, well, I don't want to insist, I want to say that. Of course, I would hope that you would become vegan instantly. But I'm also not a hypocrite. I'm a fair guy. It took me several years to make the change from when I first saw the elephant. So I would tell people I'm not going to be the hypocrite that tells you to do something that I didn't do. But I would expect in a few years that you would finally make this change, see the light, open up your circle of compassion, and understand. Look, and you don't need it. And look at me, 29 years. I'm 29 years vegan. I'm 55 years old. Give you a little flex right here. That's a 55-year-old bicep, man. And I've been living off bananas the last 45 days, 30 bananas a day. That's another issue altogether. But I've taken my veganism to frugivore level. But listen, and by the way, those muscles were not there 45 days ago. There were some of them there, but the bananas are making me grow even more. But anyways, there's so many things to eat out there. Don't forget fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, and grains like barley and millet and farro. There's cool, by the way, get away from white rice, everybody. And I do want to be fair. Not everything that's vegan is healthy for you. Okay, empty the white breads and pastas. These are empty carbohydrates. You don't need that shit. White rice has been bleached to shit, taken off out most of the nutrients. Get to the good stuff, the whole foods. Now, all those mock meats, I'm even going to say this, I'm off the mock meats. I don't eat that shit anymore. It was fun when I started. It was fun for several years to have the same taste and texture, but I thrive nowadays on fruits and vegetables. And if I'm not doing fruits and veggies, it's something like chickpeas, chana masala at an Indian restaurant, or it's barley. And speaking of barley, I want to push barley. I'm a big barley proponent. I found out about the Roman gladiators a few years ago. Do you know the word gladiator translates to barley eater? They've done DNA testing on bones that they found of the gladiators, and all they find is barley. Dr. John McDougall does a speech online about that. You could look that up later on. But man, these badass Roman gladiators are living off barley. I started eating barley. I had somebody who was 135 pounds who wanted to put on a bunch of muscle. I told him just eat 2 cups of barley a day. He got to 175 in 6 months just from eating barley. So there's some great foods out there, and barley's about 25 grams of protein per cup. There's no shortage of any nutrient. They are all found in the animal kingdom. So don't think that you have to eat meat, cheese, milk, and eggs to obtain nutrients. There are way better sources. And why would you eat something, even if it has a nutrient, when it comes along with bad things that you don't need? Excessive amounts of cholesterol, casein, wrong kind of protein, excessive amounts of animal protein, trans fatty acids. And just there's nothing beneficial health wise about eating meat. But I'm a fair guy. You can eat meat, cheese, milk, and eggs forever and never get sick. However, can you achieve ethics? It all comes down to you don't want to be an exploiter of somebody else.
Why do you think there is such a sense of, I don't know if defiance is the right word, but it seems like people who are pretty well rounded in all aspects of life will bring up some of the most ridiculous objections you've ever heard. Because in preparing for this, I said, well, I want to get someone on who knows more than me, but I figured I would just rather you and I discuss this. And as I'm watching these, it's people who very respectable, they're in suits, they have, nice backgrounds, and they'll literally say shit like, well, if we're committing murder, does that make all sharks murderers? As though they immediately say, the reason my actions are justified is because a shark also engages in them. I can't imagine they would use that justification anywhere. The woman famously said to you, "A lion does it. Why can't I do it?" And you asked, "Why didn't she walk up and smell you right away?" It's just so bizarre. Even the question I asked you, "How do we know animals feel pain?" I want to get to the root of the issue here, so that's why I asked it. But I mean, literally, if I uploaded a video of me just torturing a dog, I would expect vicious backlash, and people would think I was a literal psychopath. And I'd say, "Well, how do you know he's feeling pain? Maybe that's the sound of happiness. You don't know that." It's like people get so defensive and they turn completely stupid when this topic comes up. Why do you think that is?
Man, people hate to admit that they're wrong, and I don't know why. You can't possibly know everything. So people hate looking in the mirror, and I hated it too, just so you know. I had to look in the mirror and say, Gary, what are you doing, man? You're walking around claiming to be an animal lover. You think you're this great guy, and you're committing all these atrocities against innocent animals. But to me, there's nothing wrong with admitting you're wrong, changing the future, make amends, apologize, and move on. So here's part of the reason people say stupid things. After you hear my speech, if you don't make the change, your foundations have been crumbled, though, from what I said. So if you're trying to stand on a crumbled foundation, you're going to say stupid things like animals don't feel pain, or tomatoes feel more pain, or how do you know a cow who's screaming is really in pain, or God says it's okay. Whatever dumb thing that comes out of people's mouth, that's what happens when you're standing on a crumbled foundation. But if you let the foundation crumble and you rebuild, all of a sudden the questions are different. Now all of a sudden you're apologetic. Okay, I didn't realize what I was doing was wrong. Can you help me? What should I eat tomorrow, Gary? What do you eat every day? And then, uh, man, I don't the defiance. It's really hard for me to grasp it, but it's made my brain melt. I don't know why people choose to be so mean and cruel to somebody else, especially when that somebody else has never harmed you. Cows, pigs, chickens, and turkeys have never harmed human beings. They're the victims. We're the victimizers. And here we are. We victimize them so much, we don't even view them as victims anymore. Or lions eating zebras. I mean, how stupid is this argument? Because again, could you go kill a human being and go to a court of law and say, well, Your Honor, lions kill hyenas sometimes, so why can't I? But all of a sudden they want to mimic one thing that lions do. And we don't even have the carnivorous instincts. I used to make the challenge during my speech, 2,600 speeches, by the way. I was speaking in animal agriculture classes. I never had one person take me up on my challenge that if you want to prove to me that humans are really meat eaters, I'm going to take a break right now, go outside and catch a squirrel. Run them down, by the way. You don't get to use weapons. You want to be a lion, you chase them down, catch them in your mouth. After you catch them in your mouth, I want you to eat the entire squirrel. You don't get to cook the squirrel either. Eat the squirrel. Eyes, nose, face, toes, tail, anus, inner organs, blood, and the fur. Go ahead, show me that you're a real meat eater. Or how about this dumb shit that I've seen over the years in restaurants? You've seen it too. How about people get upset when there's a piece of hair in their food? Oh my God, there's a piece of hair. Oh, I thought you were carnivore. A piece of hair is freaking you out? Lions eat the whole zebra. They eat the hair too, but all of a sudden, the fake carnivores that humans are, we can't have a piece of hair in our food, can't have the waiter's thumb touching our food. All of a sudden, we freak out. Throw a piece of food on the floor for your dog. He doesn't give a shit if it's on the floor. We have nothing that's carnivorous about us. But the defiance, man, I don't know. I don't know why humans have to feel so special and think they're so important. It's almost like we have to have somebody to dominate at all times. And if it's not each other, I mean, think about the horrible things we've done to each other, whether it's whites over blacks or straight people over gay people or men over women, whatever it is, all of a sudden now it's humankind over animals, the animal kingdom. Why do we have to dominate and control somebody else? Why do we have to rule with an iron fist instead of a loving hand? I mean, I have the same power as everybody else, but I see a deer in the woods. I'm ecstatic. I'm like, oh my God, there's a deer. Oh my God, quick, grab a camera, get a picture. Somebody grab a carrot, see if we can get him to come over here. And then other people want to shoot him. I'll never understand the mentality of wanting to harm and kill somebody else. Even when I was a meat eater, Doug, if you put a knife in my, I'm a Keith, I'm sorry, even if when I was a teenager, if you put a knife in my hand and said, go over there and slice that cow's throat, I'd say you must be out of your fucking mind. Oh, are you kidding me? I'm not shoving that knife in somebody else's throat. It's also easy for meat, dairy, and egg eaters to do what they're doing because they're not shoving the knife in the throat. They're paying other people to do it. We make other people do the dirty work, so we show up at the grocery store. All of a sudden, the meat is wrapped in a nice little plastic container. We don't even think about what it is anymore. In fact, you notice that we give a lot of the animal names that we eat. We give them different names. We don't eat cow. We eat steak and hamburgers. We don't really eat pigs. We eat bacon and ham. I noticed that it's the cute, friendly animals that we give different names to, but the ones we deem ugly, chickens, we'll eat chickens. We deem them ugly. I think they're beautiful. Turkeys, we think they're ugly. I think they're beautiful too with the multicolored heads, but we'll eat them. But any animal that's cute, deer is venison, right? Rabbit is Hassenpfeffer. So we give different names to animals so we don't have to think about what we're eating. And how about this? You know what I would change during my speech? Remember that one section when I asked people, give me 2 words why people eat meat? And go ahead, you can say it. And people would sometimes be afraid. I'm like, tastes good. You know what? It doesn't taste good. If I killed a chicken right now, threw it on your desk, said, go ahead, Keith, eat it right now. You say you must be crazy. You better, first of all, take off all the feathers. You better dip it in oil. You better fry it, bake it. You better put it between 2 slices of bread. Put some mustard and ketchup, some tomatoes and lettuce and onions. We like the way it's prepared. Flesh in and of itself is disgusting. It's blood, flesh, veins, muscles, and tendons. But if we cook it a certain way and all of a sudden we mask all that nastiness, now it tastes good. So meat doesn't taste good. The way we prepare it makes it taste good. So all these factors just make it easy for people to eat meat, cheese, milk, and eggs without thinking about what they're taking part in. But that's the job of vegans. That's my job. It's a difficult job. I sit there in 60 minutes. I have to take the blinders off and convince people to be nice to chickens. Now, what's amazing out of those lectures, I normally reach 50% of the crowd. It was an amazing conversion rate. Professors told me a minimum of 15 to 20% of the crowd became vegan. But talk about a tough, tough social justice movement. I got to teach people to be nice to chickens and pigs and look at them as equals. And that's all it's about. And by the way, what's so wrong with viewing other beings as equals? I don't know why humans have to feel like they're on top of the world and they're more special. Even if we are, who cares? Who cares who's more special? Does somebody else really need to be tortured and killed because we are more special?
Yeah, even if there is a justification for partial supremacy, I could imagine there's not a justification for complete supremacy. So if I said I have the right to own a dog and restrict its movements, I have a right to own a horse and restrict its movements in a greater area. It's just because the horse hasn't displayed capability of being civilized in general, non-farm areas. It still wouldn't follow that I have a right to torture, kill, and have the horse, inseminated, as you were saying earlier. Do you see there is some justification for humans restricting the behavior of animals, such as owning dogs or keeping horses in a stable against their will?
Well, for the dogs, it would be to protect them. And that's a whole nother issue. Should we have companion animals? But I know most sane people treat their dogs and cats like they would treat their children. And you should protect your
Yep.
children too and restrict their movement. They shouldn't be able to go outside at midnight or 2 in the morning when they're young, and until they prove that they're an adult and they can handle themselves in certain situations. So to me, I want to treat animals the same way we would treat each other. And that's with kindness, with respect, and with care. So, like, religious people have misconstrued dominion. Dominion doesn't mean domination. Dominion means care for, protect the animals, make sure they're safe. And so now I'm not crazy about keeping horses in stalls. They should be in a pasture. They should be, in a field. Maybe at nighttime if you want to protect them at night, something like that. But these are extraneous issues, and these are not like 98% of animals being abused. We're not talking about people's dogs and people's, companion horses. We're talking about the cows, pigs, chickens, and turkeys. And we certainly have no right to keep 50,000 chickens in a warehouse just so we can kill them when they're 6 weeks old. That's something else we need to touch on. We're not only killing all these animals, we're not only animal killers, we're baby animal killers. I don't understand how humans think they're moral agents. Chickens are killed at 6 weeks. We've genetically engineered them to grow to full weight in 6 weeks. Pigs are killed at 6 months. Cows at 2.5. These are baby animals. These are young adolescent animals. These animals have not lived their full lives. And just to let you know how fair I am, if anybody wants a loophole, can I tell you a quick story about Sasha Farm? I was there, I think it was 2004 or 5. I was with my girlfriend Kate at the time, and we show up and one of the sheep is down in the field. Now, we knew Sebastian was old and we knew this wasn't good. So we ran out into the field, and sure enough, Sebastian had died. Now, nobody harmed him, nobody enslaved him. He had a huge field, he had sheep friends and goat friends. He even had some cow friends that were in that field. Monty, who runs the farm, he runs over to us. He sees Sebastian is down. And in silence, I want you to know, in silence, I look at Kate and I turn around, start walking towards the barn. She doesn't really know what I'm doing yet, but she's following me. I was going to grab a shovel. She shook her head and she grabbed a shovel. Monty saw us grab the shovels. He went and got the tractor to pick up his body. We met him in the back of Sasha Farm where we buried dead animals. We dug a hole, we buried Sebastian. Later on, a couple hours later, when we felt like talking about it, I brought something up that shocked Kate and Monty. I said, you know something? We could have had a barbecue today. Said, Gary, what? Well, how is Gary saying that? Listen, my objection and the objection of the vegans is slavery, exploitation, and murder. Nobody enslaved him. Nobody murdered him. He lived his full life and he died. But now that we're thinking logically and compassionately, we did the only normal thing we were supposed to do. We saw a dead body and we buried it. Why have corpses become food? Why is flesh and blood and veins and muscles and tendons? How is this viewed as food? How is something that comes out of a hen's ass viewed as food? How is cow secretions that are meant for baby cows? How did we steal their milk and want to put it in human bodies? So if people want a loophole, and students have asked me this, isn't there a loophole? I said, yeah, go find a dead animal. Go walk through the woods and you find an animal that just died naturally. I lose my objection. Now, I might have a health objection, but guess what? I'm not the health police. I don't give a shit. You want to be unhealthy? You want to eat Ruffles, which are vegan all the time? I tell all these vegan junk food people, you want to eat Ruffles? You want to eat Pringles? You want to eat Mike and Ike's, which are vegan? You want to eat all the nasty things that happen to be vegan? I don't give a shit. You have a right to harm your own body. In fact, you want to take heroin? You want to smoke cigarettes? Just don't do it around me. You have a right. You want to kill yourself. You have a right. It's your body. But it's their body, their choice. You don't get to choose what happens to their body. But so there is a loophole, but no one's going to do it. I would bring it up to the students and they go, "Oh, okay." And I say, "You're not going to do it. Don't act like McDonald's is going out to find dead cows in a field somewhere. It doesn't exist that way. So don't just agree with me and then not change. Understand that you still got to change if this all makes sense to you eventually. Might not have to do it overnight. I would encourage that. Most of my students, became vegan right on the spot. But get on the path to veganism, make that change, and you're going to feel a lot better, man. It's so nice to know that you're not responsible for exploitation. And I want to clarify something else. Animals still die on this planet because we're here. Vegans, too, are responsible. We drive cars. We have cell phones and computers where they've been mined and they've destroyed the earth and other parts of the world, right? We fly in airplanes, crop deaths. There are a lot of things that happen, but the basis of veganism is to eradicate exploitation, intentional harm, intentional. We intentionally steal their babies. We intentionally electroejaculate them and impregnate the females. We intentionally develop chicken guillotine machines where we slice their heads off in these slaughterhouses. Or now, the standard method of death, gas chambers. How could any meat eater justify putting chickens and pigs in gas chambers? So the carbon dioxide burns their insides and they're screaming and writhing in pain. And then we dip them in this hot bath to remove their skin and cut up their body parts, and then we view it as food. This is the biggest atrocity that's ever been going on. And I don't know why, again, and it's back to your question, why are people defiant? I don't know. I wish I knew. Sometimes I think, Keith, that some people have a compassion gene and some people don't. But then again, I go out and I convert. They say I've converted hundreds of thousands of people worldwide, maybe millions. I think maybe everyone has a compassionate gene. It just depends how far it's buried. Because that was my goal. I'm trying to flick that switch on. And not all my classes started out this way, arms crossed. They didn't want to hear the. I heard them mumbling. Ah, the fucking vegans here today. Man, I should have brought a hamburger. I should have brought my dad's deer head. I was never mad at anybody before a lecture. It was after I was a little perturbed. But I watched people go from arms crossed 10 minutes in, because I make a lot of points right off the bat. All of a sudden, the arms are uncrossed. I show that slaughterhouse video, which does need to be shown to a lot of people because nobody wants to believe the horror of a slaughterhouse. All of a sudden, after the slaughterhouse video goes on, one hand was usually above their head. I was told by some psychologists this is a submissive position. They're always like, okay, wow. And then all of a sudden, I would push them with my militancy. My lecture basically was a militant comedy roast. I have two heroes. I mentioned one, George Carlin. The other one's Malcolm X. So I would push it to the limit, and then I drop that joke, the bestiality joke. I go, and you guys think I'm weird because I eat tofu, and they'd laugh and giggle. So we go back and forth. But I would take them on this journey, and by the end, their arms were open, as if to say, "Okay, I get it. I get it. Tell me what do I eat tomorrow, Gary?" But to go from this arms crossed to wide open in 60, 70 minutes, it was amazing to be able to see change. And I never thought I would be able to achieve this stuff. I'm just a simple dude from Michigan. I watched sports before 2 months ago, before I met my new vegan goddess. I was smoking weed every day. I started smoking since since I've been 12 years old. If people really knew the real Gary, getting high all day, watching Sports Center, listening to Judas Priest and Zeppelin and Queen and Eminem, it'd be like this guy's changed the world. But listen, I saw the elephant. I heard her screams. I saw the pigs. I read their eyes, and I just can't be silent about this. I just have to tell people. And again, I'm a man of my word. I made a promise that I would tell everybody about their plight, and that's what I'm doing. And thank goodness most people are listening.
There is somewhat of a collective action problem when it comes to ending human suffering. Sometimes it's referred to as the voting for Ted Bundy problem. If I am voting for president and I write in Ted Bundy, yes, that's technically bad that I voted for an evil person, but that's not going to change the outcome at all. That my minuscule action has really no effect on the larger operation or anything else that's at stake. So when it comes to what I personally choose to get at the grocery store only affects the outcome in a very small way, and it doesn't necessarily change everyone else's actions, but it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because everyone else says that, and then you end up allocating so many resources to the people who are killing the animals, and then the cycle continues. When it comes to keeping individuals motivated, so no one's ever going to find out what I eat ever again, no one's ever going to find out what uh what I spend my money on. How do you keep people motivated and stop them from secret, I'll publicly be a vegan, but I'll eat steak. It's only one or two. And this grocery store has it on clearance. They'd probably throw it out anyways. How do you keep people disciplined when there's such a collective action problem in ending animal suffering?
Everybody knows the story about the starfish on the beach where the people are walking there. There's a couple thousand, and some kid's picking it up, throwing the starfish back. And the father says, "You're not going to make a difference." And he's holding the one starfish, and he says, "Well, I made a difference to him." As a vegan, you do make a difference to thousands of cows, pigs, chickens, turkeys, and fish because I brought it up earlier. This is supply and demand. If we demand to eat their flesh and the things that come out of their bodies, they are going to mass produce them. This is not God or evolution producing 107.7 million pigs in America every year. This is not God or evolution creating 9 billion chickens. This is an industry. IBM doesn't make 63 billion computers every year. They make as many computers as they can sell. Same thing with GM and all the other industries. So, the only thing that can destroy this horrible industry of oppression is when each person does make a change. And if we get enough people to change, all of a sudden the industry won't exist, which is why a lot of the companies that kill animals, they've been buying up the plant-based companies for years. Right? Dean Foods now owns Silk Soy Milk. And there's a whole list of the major industries that are now preparing for the future. In fact, when those companies started buying the vegan companies, I wasn't mad. That was a tell. They were letting me know they see 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road that the earth can't sustain animal based agriculture, that people are being open minded towards animal suffering and animal oppression. So I would encourage each person, man, don't walk away because everyone else is doing it. And even if everyone else is doing it, why would you join the murderous crowd? Why would you join the exploitative crowd? If everybody was raping children, would you say, well, I might as well join in? Bullshit. And by the way, you don't need to pass a law to tell me and logical people that I shouldn't rape a child or rape a woman or kill somebody else that has never harmed me. So I don't even know why people are fighting for laws or why people think the laws need to change. You should know right from wrong. You should know you shouldn't shove a knife into somebody else's throat that is not harming you when it's not in self-defense or vicarious self-defense when you're protecting somebody else. So the only thing we can do as an individual is change. And think about all the industries that now don't exist because people have changed. Where are all the payphones at? I'm showing my age. I'm 55. There used to be payphones when I was growing up. You got to seek out a payphone now. Because why? We stopped using payphones. We want cell phones. How about the newspaper industry? Because people would bring this out, Gary, you're trying to put the meat eaters out, the meat industry out of business. I said, really? So what newspaper did you buy today? Or did you go online and read your newspaper and get your news somewhere else? You guys put people out of business all the time. All of a sudden you want to defend somebody that's exploiting somebody else and harming somebody else. You're really concerned about what they're going to do for a living. They need to find a job where no one is being exploited intentionally. I understand exploitation exists, but you know what I mean. Like I don't care that I put the mink murderer out of business in 1997 when I raided his farm. That was part of my goal. Put him out of business. I was going to give the animals a chance to be free, and I caused $2.1 million in damage, and he went out of business. And the reason why I was sentenced to 6 months in prison, it was economics. Economic sabotage. We don't tolerate economic damage. It wasn't because I freed the mink. I even questioned the judge. I said, how can it be a crime to free, tortured, enslaved, and soon to be murdered animals if it's not a crime to torture, enslave, and murder animals? He actually went like this one. He understood like the whole thing is stupid, but I know you're going to sentence me because I caused a couple $1 million in damage. So people can make a difference. Margaret Mead once said, never doubt that a small group of determined individuals can make a change. It's the only thing that never has. So it's small groups of people making massive amounts of change. And then there's that tipping point theory. I'm not completely well versed on it, but they say, oh, maybe you only need 5% or 10% or 20% of a population to change their habits in order to make massive change elsewhere. Then everyone else just follows suit.
Oh, yeah, that seems much more likely than needing to get, tens of millions of people in any country. It's usually just a passionate minority. If I just think of the American, Cuban, French, Russian, English revolutions that come to mind, it was not like, well, 95% of people came to an agreement. It was never something like it's always a microscopic. The average person just wants to go to work and not get shot on their way home.
Right.
Um, so As I was thinking about the horses I told you I was reading about and stuff, I was going through the arguments in my head, and basically, the root justification that I have for eating meat is totally selfish, and it's the argument sort of from inevitability that I mentioned earlier. One was, well, I'm just making one small difference, it's not that big. Well, so what? I still have an obligation to not allocate my scarce time and money to people who are actively choosing to harm animals unnecessarily. So we're clear on that. The real thing that gets to me, I was 290 pounds for the majority of my adult life. I'd lost all the weight for like a couple months when I was a drug addict, but then I gained it all back. So when I came across the carnivore diet, it was satiating foods that I guess we're just not putting on the weight. I don't know enough about nutrition to give a causal explanation of why. The only reason I chose the carnivore diet is because I noticed such a strong correlation between when I started eating this food and when I started losing weight, and I was able to lose 110 pounds on it. So really, my biggest fear is if I get off this carnivore diet, I'm going to have the cravings back. I'm going to gain the weight back. Goodbye, any attention that I just started getting from women for the first time in my adult life. And it's going to be back to taking up damn near 2 seats on a fucking airplane. So none of that justifies, me killing and torturing animals. But I want to get you into the mindset of why it is scary for me to abandon this diet. Anything come to mind as far as wisdom you can give me or help me think through this?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of ways you can lose weight. You can smoke crack. You can get cancer, you can get AIDS. So just because you're losing weight doesn't mean it's a healthy way to lose weight. And I've never denied that you can lose weight on the Atkins diet. It's because you usually put your body into something called ketosis and your body starts eating itself. You don't want to just lose weight and not be healthy, but you can lose weight by reducing your calories. I'm going to give you actually a great example, better one than you. How heavy were you? 290?
I was 290, yeah.
My father was 411 pounds. I had been trying for years to get my dad to become vegan. Like everyone else, he didn't want to hear about it. So we actually stopped talking about veganism. One day I get a surprise call. I said, Gary, he says, Gary, I'm becoming vegan. I said, get the hell out of here. What happened? He goes,
Mm.
well, I was at my doctor's office. I want my knee replacement surgery. And the doctor said, there's no way I'm putting you under, Ron, when you're 4'11". You got to lose some weight. So my dad says, well, you know what, doc? My son really wants me to become vegan. And the doctor says, you know what, Ron? I don't think your son has a bad idea. Now, my dad's a jokester. That's where I kind of got my jokesterism from. And he says, Doc, I thought you were going to be on my side. And the doctor said, I am on your side, Ron. Do what your son says. In 1 year, my dad lost 189 pounds sitting on his fat ass watching Maury Povich and Jerry Springer and Wheel of Fortune, not exercising one bit. Think about if he could have exercised, but his knees were so bad he couldn't even exercise. He still lost 189 instead of eating hot dogs and cheese and hamburgers. When I showed up to his house, he had a bowl of green peppers and tomatoes. And even I was saying, wait a second, you're eating green peppers and tomatoes for dinner? He said, yeah. I said, holy shit, that's like level 27 vegan, man. I'm not even doing that shit. But he ate the right foods and he lost all that weight by eating what was healthy. Get this, he was taking 7 heart medications when he was 4'11". He cut out 4 heart medications, took it down to 3. He was a full-fledged diabetic. He cut his insulin intake by 3/4 just by eating what was right. And if he could have exercised, who knows where it could have led him. So you don't need to go into ketosis and do the Atkins diet, the carnivore diet. And by the way, these diets, I find them to be funny that we give them different names. It's the same fucking diet. It's based on meat or it's based on certain amounts of meat. It's still the same thing. It's not different. The Zone diet, Weight Watchers, Atkins, Carnivore diet, they're all the same. The core root is the same. Eat animals, eat less of them or eat more of them or don't eat dairy, whatever it is. It's all based on animal products. Again, I'm going to say nobody becomes ill from eating blueberries and raspberries and broccoli and green beans and peas and all the things that have all the nutrients that the human human body needs. So, and keep in mind again, calorie count. You want to lose weight, cut your calories. You want to gain weight. You know, I've gained this muscle. I've added 1,000 calories to my diet these last 45 days. I wanted to build some muscle. It's a simple formula. Cut out calories or add calories, or cut out fat and add fat to it. Whatever it is, you don't have to be afraid that you're going to gain. Why would you gain weight eating fruits and vegetables? Why would you gain weight eating lentils? Why would you gain weight eating beans? Why would you gain weight? Now, if you eat too many nuts, nuts are full of fat. You can gain weight there. I rarely, if ever, eat nuts. I'm also a big proponent of super low fat vegan diets right now. I think fat is actually the basis of all of our diseases. In fact, in a nutshell, no pun intended, I'll tell you why. Why meat eaters love meat and dairy? It's all fat. How come nobody likes fruits and vegetables? No fat. Or how come everyone's favorite fruit is, guess what? Avocados. Why? 32 grams of fat. It's the only fruit with excessive amounts of fat. People are fat addicts. That's the addiction that's driving everybody insane. But if you can, and oils, by the way, get rid of the oils too. You don't need that shit either. And I don't give a shit about people saying olive oils. There is no such thing as good oil, like there's no good cigarettes. You don't need that shit. The body thrives on low fat. But I don't care what type of vegan diet you want to eat, what type of plant-based diet you want to consume. Just make sure it's based on whole foods, and you won't be able to gain weight. It's nearly impossible to gain weight. You could even eat like the 30 bananas a day. I'm not gaining any weight. I'm not gaining fat. I'm gaining muscle.
And how active are you? Do you go to the gym a lot? I mean,
I go to the gym. Yeah, I'm sorry.
there's just a lot of people who have and at the time when I weighed this much, I also had a job where I would drive, sit in a chair for more or less 8 to 10 hours, and then I would go home. So I was not active at all. How active are you when you're consuming, you said 1,000 surplus calories?
Yeah. Well, I've now since I was about 15, so we're talking 40 years, I've been a workoutaholic. I have to work out every day. So I'm at the gym every morning. And if I'm not at the gym every morning, I am doing a 90-minute walk, give or take a half an hour, sometimes up to 2 hours. You got to get active. I want to throw this out there too. I talked about health earlier. That's another thing that can lead to illness: inactivity. Right? Not doing anything. That's bad news. We have to start getting active too. So exercise is a key component of my life, and I understand people have long jobs, 9 to 5, maybe even longer. Hey man, you can still get up at 5 in the morning. There have been plenty of days I'm at the gym at 5 in the morning. I can't sleep. Instead of just laying there not being able to sleep, I go hit the gym after work. Go for a walk. It doesn't even have to be lifting weights, but get active, and you'll also keep that weight off if that's what your goal is. But but listen, my dad dropped 189 without any activity, but at some point he would have had to have add that back in. So I would recommend exercise too as part of a balanced, healthy lifestyle.
So let's walk through someone who's listening is really motivated by not wanting to participate any longer in the unnecessary torturing, suffering of animals. Let's talk about alternatives. So if I want to eat I'm really, really hungry and I want something that I could eat in a large quantity without gaining weight in the long run. What are some foods that come to mind that I could eat a ton of that are kinda tasty, gotta be a little tasty, and that won't, put on the pounds for me?
Well, fruit, first of all, and fruit should be tasty, man. It's juicy, it's wonderful. You can eat as many blueberries as you can shove in your mouth, as many raspberries. You can eat as many bananas as you can shove in your mouth, peaches and nectarines. There's a slew of fruits that you can eat a ton of. By the way, the reason I picked 30 bananas are 100 calories each, gives me an easy way to get 3,000 calories. Peaches and nectarines are about 50 calories. So just keep in mind that you also, in order to get full of fruits and vegetables, you got to be eating enough calories to make yourself feel full. I've had so many people over the years tell me, Gary, man, I tried it. I tried this veganism stuff. I had a banana for breakfast and I just felt weak all day. Well, no shit. It was 100 calories. Not even a mouse on a wheel could get going with one banana. Stop it already. And by the way, I find it hysterical that people will eat 35 chicken wings. People will eat 10, 12 slices of pizza. People on July
Mm.
4th, give me 4 hot dogs, 2 hamburgers, and a chicken breast. And all of a sudden, I'll just take one banana or one apple. I don't feel right, Gary. Well, no shit. Eat fucking 10 apples. Eat fucking 15 bananas. You got to stop viewing fruit as one piece only. Eat multiple pieces of fruit. You can also eat dates. Dates were a great snack that I was always fall back on. They're healthy. They're full of so many wonderful nutrients. Man, you could practically live off of dates. Go get medjool dates, and there's a whole bunch of different kinds of dates too. There's so many things you can eat all day long to be satisfied. You just have to recondition your taste buds. Think about this. I'm going to even use animal-based products. Now, everybody has probably had regular whole cow's milk at one point. And at some point in your life, somebody said, here, try this skim milk. And you took a sip and you're like, oh, it's disgusting. Do skim milk though for 2, 3, 4 weeks later, all of a sudden you're like, hey, tastes fine. You reconditioned your taste buds. So there might be a period off the bat where, okay, I don't really, this isn't, I'm not digging, or I'm not digging tofu right now, man. It's not tasting right. Keep trying it, cook it a different way, eat something. And by the way, there's so many different things that you can eat. Find something that really makes you happy. I don't like the melon family. I love fruits, but don't give me watermelon, honeydew, or cantaloupe. Disgusting to me. But I love the berry family. I love all the I love bananas. I love nectarines and peaches. Find the stuff that you like that jives with you, and you're gonna be satisfied. Just remember to eat enough. That's the one thing that new vegans don't do sometimes. They don't eat enough, and then they say, "I feel weak. Oh, I don't feel strong. I don't feel right." You're not eating enough. And don't live off of iceberg lettuce, okay? Get into the other cool lettuces that are out there. Get into kale, which is full of wonderful nutrients too, and spinach. And there's so many different, arugula. There's so many cool lettuces out there that provide you with great stuff too. Just eat enough of it. And again, fruits and veggies, you can literally eat as many as you want, and you won't gain weight. In a horrible, yeah. Let's leave it
So
at
is
that.
and why is that? If I could eat as many as I want, wouldn't it be that gaining weight comes as a result of consuming more calories
Well,
than you burn over a period of time? Couldn't it isn't that what
well,
necessarily causes people to be overweight?
sure. Okay, let me clarify. When I say eat as much as you want, there's going to be a point where you can't eat anymore and you won't be gaining weight. So there's going to be a limit. After you
Okay.
eat 10, 15 bananas, you won't be able to shove another banana in your body. So you won't be like, it's not like you can eat 100 bananas and get 10,000 calories and gain all, you're not going to be able to. So fruits and veg, eat as much until you're sated. And then once you're sated, your body's gonna let you know, no more, can't take any more, and it's gonna be the perfect amount of calories that you need.
Okay, so that is the important distinction between
Right.
eating like pizza, cake, and drinking Dr. Pepper. Those calories you can constantly consume and they won't be satiating.
Right. And
Whereas
you're
you're
never, listen, you
saying,
could eat a whole
r-
cake, right? And never be like a whole thing of Haagen-Dazs ice cream. You can eat a large piece. Give me 15. I
uh,
used to do it too. It's like, well, I could shove all these pizzas down my body. And then, but all of a sudden now it's 3, 4, 5,000 calories. Now you're gaining weight. But when the
yeah,
fruit, you're gonna hit a point with the fruit where it's gonna be like even though I'm doing all these bananas, it's only 15 max at one time. So 2 separate times a day, I eat 15 bananas. That's my 1,500 calories. There's my
that's
3,000
wild.
calories for the day. And check out the pipes, check out the guns I got now. I'm telling you, but that body built by bananas. You ever seen a weak gorilla?
No,
Ever
I
seen an
did.
emaciated gorilla? Gorillas live off of leafy greens and bananas, and they're pure 400 pounds of muscles. Think about that too. How about this? We use terminology every day that proves that veganism is healthier, even in the animal kingdom. We say somebody who's strong, they're as strong as an ox. Vegan, healthy as a horse. Vegan. We don't say you're healthy as a snake. A snake does. Snake eats some creature, sits there for 3 weeks trying to digest what he just ate. An elephant will walk 50 miles a day eating mangoes, eating some grass. Look at the animal kingdom. The hippos, baddest creature in the whole jungle. They're vegans too. And look how big the hippos are. Look at the rhinos. Look at the cows that are big. That the cows that we eat. The animals that we eat are vegans. They're large animals and they're vegans. So don't think you're going to
Okay.
fall
So
apart once you stop eating meat. Don't think you're not going to be strong anymore. It depends on what you eat and if you're exercising and lifting weights. And check out there's a vegan bodybuilding team or the vegan strong team online. These guys are setting records all over the world. Patrick Baboumian is Germany's strongest man. He's vegan. Avi Laney was Israel's strongest man for years and years. He had been vegan. He's been vegan for like 40 years. I got to meet him back in 2012 and 2013. You can go online, look up vegan athletes. They're out there. Djokovic has been a raw vegan for 15 years. He's the greatest tennis player ever. Don't think you're going to fall apart because you're vegan. This is propaganda from the meat, dairy, and egg industry to scare people. No, those vegans are skinny. In fact, you know what's funny? I saw Pierce Morgan, who is one of the most closed-minded people I've ever seen. He had Jamie Logan on his show, and he says to her, and Jamie is physically wonderful. He says to her, "I've never seen a healthy vegan." What I would have said to Piers Morgan, I said, "Have you looked in the mirror lately? Are you fucking kidding? How fat do you plan on getting? What are you talking about? I rarely see a healthy looking meat, dairy, and egg eater. Look at yourself, man. You're falling apart. You're like 275 pounds. Stop it already and stop mocking and using these ancient slurs against vegans. Oh, you're skinny. Oh, you're frail. Oh, you're not going to get what you need. Oh, what about protein? Oh, God says this. Okay, it's all these dumb robotic automaton responses that people have. As soon as you tell people to be nice to an animal, watch seemingly rational people lose their mind. You brought this up earlier too about you could like PhDs. I've lectured to PhDs who don't get it. I've lectured to people in rural America and they get it. I'll show people that Republicans and Republicrats are one and the same. People like to see the left like always says, "Oh, our people are brilliant," and then they always say that the right wingers are stupid. Do you know that Barack Obama, during his first term, when he was pardoning a turkey, by the way, one of the most hypocritical things ever, right? We're admitting what's going on.
yes,
So
exactly.
he pardons a turkey. Get this, there's a hot mic. He doesn't realize the mic's still on. He leans over and he tells somebody, and I was watching this on TV, he says, "Somebody better get that turkey away from me before I change my mind." In that moment, there was no difference between Barack Obama and Donald Trump. There's no difference between Republicans and Republicans. There's no difference between blacks and whites, straight people, gay people, Israelis and Palestinians. It doesn't matter. Ask somebody to be nice to an animal. Watch seemingly rational people fly off the handle and lose their minds at being nice to a chicken, a turkey, a cow, or a pig, or a fish. Why? Why can't we just look at them? Especially when we started. Remember my speech? I said when we were kids, we used to be in awe of animals. All children's movies revolve around the animals. Kids have stuffed animals for crying out loud. Everything is about, oh, I want to play with an animal. I want to see an animal. And even if we were afraid of animals when we were growing up, we didn't want to harm them. We just wanted to be taken away from them or move the animal away. If people were mean to an animal in front of children, they scream and cry. What happened along the way? How did we go from being in awe to not giving a shit to being their exploiters and justifying their exploitation and being defiant, forcing them into this horrible life that, again, 6 weeks, chickens get to live on this planet for 6 weeks? Maybe they wanted to know man, but all they ever have known has been our inhumanity. They're caught up in this tornado of hell that we've created for what? For what? For a sandwich that we don't need? For a pair of shoes that we don't need? I'm going to drop some more sarcastic humor. It's not mine. Dennis Leary, really funny guy. Did you ever hear his skit when he said that animals always have to stand before us like we're God and prove to us why we shouldn't harm them? So he says, "Okay, who are you and what do you do?" And the first one says, "Well, I'm an otter. I roll on my back and I do cute little human things with my hands." He says, "Oh, okay, you can go." "Well, who are you? What do you do?" I'm a cow. I don't do anything. I just sit in the field and eat grass all day." "Bullshit, you're a baseball glove. Get on the truck. Next." You can laugh. It's funny because there's truth and sarcasm. That's exactly what we do, right? Dogs and cats, you're our buddies, in America at least, right? Oh, but cows and pigs, you're our dinner. But if you go to certain parts of the world, cows might be viewed as sacred animals. You go to certain parts of the world, dogs are food. It proves to me that it's all made up prejudice. It depends on where you're
Mhm.
at, who to be nice to, and who to not be nice to. And that's why I know vegans are on the right side of this movement. Because collectively, if we all sat down with people from all over the world and we sat down for a meal, we'd have to remove every animal to appease every different group of people. And the only thing left to eat, lentils, beans, fruits, and vegetables that don't offend anybody. Never, plant-based foods don't offend anybody. But animal-based foods, you're going to find somebody that it offends, even if they're not vegans. You're going to find that it offends nearly everybody.
When it comes to foods that are high in protein on a plant-based diet, what are some of the things that come to mind when it comes to foods that are good tasting, satiating, affordable, high protein foods? What comes to mind?
I love grains. I think grains are a great source. I mentioned this earlier. Barley's about 23 to 25 grams of protein per cup. And you want to talk about cheap, even at Whole Foods, Whole Paycheck. You can go to Whole Foods and get cheap barley. You can go at quinoa, also same thing, about 20 to 25 grams of protein. So before I started this frugivore thing, I want to let you know. So since 2014, I decided to clean up my diet. Let me tell you what my diet was: a cup of barley in the morning, half a cup of lentils. Lentils, by the way, another great source of protein. A cup of lentils, about 20 to 25 grams of protein. I would do a cup of barley and a can of beans. Can of beans, 20 to 25 grams of protein. My lunch was always about 10 to 15 pieces of fruit. I'd eat about two or three, and then I'd make a smoothie with 10 to 12 pieces of fruit. And my dinner was six different vegetables. I'm big on, again, I wanted a clean diet. I wanted to be healthy. My body thrives on nutritious foods. And then I would use, since I'm low fat, I found a low fat veggie burger. It's called Actual Veggies. There's no junk in there, no soy in there, nothing at all. It's all literally made of vegetables. Or a couple years ago, a great product came out. It's tofu that's made from fava beans. Fava bean tofu made by Big Mountain. Get this: 0 grams of fat, 64 grams of protein. And I'd eat the entire package. So that was my dinner. So there are a lot of high protein foods out there that are wonderful. And barley, if you haven't had it, it's naturally creamy. You make a cup of barley and you don't burn it. You take it off at the right time. It's naturally creamy. And keep in mind, you can add vegetables. You can add something to it if you want to, make it even more tasty. I think it tastes great by itself, but I would mix in the beans or the barley. So there's a lot of things out there, and all you got to do is punch in high protein plant based foods online. You'll find a nice list about it. And calories, I brought up dates. Dates are about 65 calories. So when I was on the road traveling and I wanted to maintain my size, I would make sure I had a box of dates with me, and I'm in the car driving 6 hours from one city to the next. Boom, I eat 10 dates. There's 600 calories. I'm full. I'm sated. So once you get the hang of it, keep in mind, eating's a habit.
Mhm.
Eating meat, cheese, milk, and eggs is a habit, and eating plant-based is a habit. So my first 3 months when I went veg, you want to hear something funny? Peanut butter and jelly, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I was a typical meat, dairy, and egg eater. I knew I didn't want to eat my friends anymore, though. I said, "Oh my God, there's nothing to eat. What am I going to eat? Peanut butter and jelly." So PB and J. And you know what? I would have done that for the rest of my life. I knew I didn't want to cause pain and suffering to the animals anymore. But after 3 months, I was like, okay, there's got to be something else to eat out here. Then I tried some tofu. I'm saying, you know what? This isn't bad. If you cook it right, treat tofu the same way you treat meat. You like to bake it, bake it. You want to fry it, fry it. You want to grill it, you want to use it in a stir fry, you want to barbecue it. It can be treated the same way. Spice it up too. Keep in mind, why do we really like the meat? I told you about the taste good. Now, you like the way it's prepared. Use the same spices. You like basil, you like parsley, you like whatever, salt and pepper, whatever you're doing. People cook tofu sometimes and they don't put anything on and go, oh, it tastes bland. Well, you don't eat a plain fucking steak. You fucking put something on there. You even put barbecue sauce. Put barbecue sauce on the tofu as well. So treat all the mock meats. And there's those mock meats. And you know what? They really taste great these days. I gotta tell you, in 1996, when I became vegan, yeah, they were a little rubbery. They weren't tasting right. Nowadays, man, you can't tell the difference. There have been times when I was on the road, and I remember in Follow Your Heart restaurant, and they are the makers of some great Follow Your Heart cheese and this thing called Veganese, which is sunshine in a bottle. It's a mock mayonnaise. I was at their restaurant in Canoga Park, California, and this is 2002. They were one of two restaurants in America that had a vegan omelet. An omelet. I said, get the fuck out of here. You got to be. I haven't had eggs now in 6 years at this point. So I ordered the vegan omelet. Now they were a vegetarian restaurant, so they had eggs on the menu. They bring me the vegan omelet. I said, okay, you guys brought me the egg omelet. I had the vegan omelet. They said, no, Gary, that's the vegan omelet. I said, okay, that is not a vegan omelet. This is an egg omelet. Gary, that I didn't believe it. It was like a 3-minute argument. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And it was spectacular. And as the years progressed, the food has gotten better and better. Now, I want to be fair and clear about health. This stuff is high in fat. That's why it tastes so good, right? They use fat, they use oils, they use salt. You put salt and fat on anything. You put salt and fat on an old pair of shoes, people be like, you know what? It's not that
Mhm.
bad. It's really not that bad. So keep in mind why the mock meat tastes good. It's fatted up and it's salted up. So if you'd use the same technique, everyone, you guys, you can't tell if it. In fact, I remember when Beyond Meat came out, or Impossible Burger. I don't know which one. They were on the Today Show, and all four of the hosts, they were trying to trick them which one is Impossible or Beyond Meat, which one's the cow meat. They all picked the vegan meat as the real meat. So if it's made properly, and you find the right chef too, and don't be so harsh. So this is something else people would do to me, Keith. They'd say, well, Gary, I had a veggie burger once and it sucked. Okay. You think maybe there's a bad veggie burger out there? Oh, I've had bad veggie burgers too. You guys act like every pizza joint you ever went to is a great pizza joint. And don't pull a fast one on me. I used to eat meat for 26 years. I didn't like every pizza joint. I mean, that pizza place sucks. But that pizza place is great. Or that steak joint sucks. They make great steaks. This hamburger is the best hamburger. Treat vegan food the same way. You had a bad veggie burger? Well, find another one till you taste. Oh, like, well, this veggie burger is great. You had a bad, whatever, mock chicken? Well, maybe it was a bad mock chicken. Find another one that tastes right, that hits your palate properly. Don't be so hard. People put the bar on veganism so high, they make it like when I serve somebody vegan food that your knees have to buckle. You have to break out in a cold sweat. Like but people will eat meat from a gas station. I see
Yeah.
people. I used to see them on the road. I would go get some orange juice in the morning. I see these guys at 6:30 in the morning grab a hot dog that's been sitting on that damn
I've
grill
seen
for
that.
48 hours, a bag of fucking Fritos, and a Mountain Dew. I'm like, this is how you start your day, even as a meat eater. Are you kidding me? This is how you start your day, and you wonder why you don't feel right later on, or you wonder why later on in life something's probably going to happen to you. Keep this in mind too. You don't get cancer and heart disease overnight. You don't get emphysema and lung cancer from smoking cigarettes overnight. That's 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road. So it might be okay on the Atkins diet now, and the carnivore diet now. Come see me in 20, 30 years when your arteries are clogged. Come see me when all that animal protein leached all the calcium from your bones and you got osteoporosis now. Come see me later on in life, man. But most importantly, do it for the animals right now. Sooner the better. Oh, you want to hear something funny too? So, when my dad was 4'11", he was typical. Oh, my friend, nobody, he wouldn't even try all the vegan products. So one day, I had to trick him. I had to trick Pops. I show up Sunday morning football. I got a bag of bagels and I got some tofutti cream cheese. Now, this cream
Mm.
cheese looks just like cream cheese. I took the lid off so he couldn't see it said tofutti. So I set it on the table. I'm like, hey, Pops, they're about to kick off. Comes in the room. I knew he was going to grab a bagel. He grabs a bagel. He smears it on. He starts eating it. I'm in the corner. I'm bursting. I'm like, I can't wait to tell him. Oh my God. But I'm going to wait because I know he's going for round two. He takes the second one halfway through. He goes, I say, hey, Pops, you like the bagels and cream cheese today? You kidding me? I always love bagels and cream cheese. Thanks for bringing it today. I said, oh, by the way, that's tofu cream cheese. Oh, what are you feeding me? Oh, now it's
Yeah.
gross. It was, by the way, tofu cream cheese all over his face. I go, oh, now it's, don't make this stuff gross. That's a problem too. We make the vegan food already in our minds. We make it seem gross. Oh, I don't want this veggie burger. Oh, I don't want to try this fake chicken sandwich. Stop it. Go in with an open mind. You'd be shocked. Again, you're not going to like everything that's vegan. I don't like everything that's vegan. But you're going to like enough things that are vegan that you can do this. And keep in mind, you don't like everything that's meat based. You like this pizza joint, that steak joint, that hamburger joint. You don't like everyone.
That was a point that, I had never considered before, that chickens and cows are vegans. Is that was that your point previously? Did I
Yeah,
mishear that?
listen, because what meat eaters end up doing is obtaining their nutrients secondhand or third hand, right? We not the not we feed all the things that we should be eating directly to the animals, so that we're getting all those nutrients that the animals have been processing or are processing, that we eat their flesh to obtain the nutrients that we could be getting directly. Why are we filtering our nutrients through somebody else's body?
Mm.
It doesn't make any sense up and down why we do the things we do. It's just habit, it's tradition, it's convenience. I know why it goes on. I was part of it. And again, when I condemn people, I'm condemning those who know and who aren't changing. I walked into every classroom, even the animal agriculture classes at OSU. I did Ohio State University ag classes 6 to 8 times a year. I walked into every class willing to give everybody a chance. I didn't want to fight with anybody. I just wanted to inform people. I know the truth is harsh. I know my words are harsh, but I don't know how else to explain them to people. I don't want to sugarcoat them. I don't want to be a politician. I don't want to say things that you want me to say. I say things that you need to hear. So it was after the lecture. And that's why I ended all my lectures, or just about all of them, by saying, "So what's your excuse now?" So I thought I covered it. And then when people started to fight, well, it was disheartening, man. It made my brain melt. I mean, at the end, at 2014, when I was winding down, I knew I couldn't do this anymore. I didn't even understand the arguments that were happening. In my head, I'm saying, all I did was ask you not to kill somebody else, not to rape somebody else, not to harm somebody else who's never harmed you, and you're fighting with me? What is going on? I don't even get it anymore. Um, Man, it was a hell of a journey, though. I was 18 years in the trenches before I had to back down and back off and take a break and recuperate. But I'm back in action now, and it feels good to be alive again. It feels good to be out there talking to people. I just want to share some information. I just want to share some wisdom. That's it. And again, we all have different. We're all an expert in something different in life. And I don't claim to be an expert in anything else. If you were going to ask me about taxes, if you're going to ask me about libertarianism, you're going to ask me about politics, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But you ask me about proper human to animal relationships, I can tell you about that. I can tell you that we are the victimizers and they are the victims, and they've done nothing wrong. And there's no way that a sane person should think that a victimizer is more special and more important than a victim. That is just outrageous to me. We're the ones that are committing crimes. They haven't committed crimes. And we're the ones justifying those crimes because we say they don't count. Well, hey, it's easy to do that to your victim. Don't we always say they don't count? It's easy to victimize somebody when you say they don't matter. And how would people feel if the moment they were born, somebody else had already planned the day of their execution? We do that to the animals. Their day of murder has already been decided as they're born. You want to talk about being treated unfairly, unjustly? No one has known suffering like the animal kingdom. Nobody. And I want to know when it's going to end, even if people, again, think that they're more important and more special. And I've been saying this to the religious crowds lately. Well, how about then just showing some mercy? Fine, I won't argue with you. You're more important. You're the kings and queens of the universe. You did it. You conquered the entire animal kingdom. Congratulations. Can you have some mercy on your victims now? Why?
Yeah.
How long is this going to go on? Do you have to terrorize them forever? Say you won. I mean, it's like somebody choking somebody out in an MMA fight and not releasing when the guy tapped out. The animals have tapped out. The cows and chickens and pigs, they're tapping out. Please give us our babies back. Can you please? It's like, I'm not letting go. I'm going to kill this motherfucker. Why? Let him go. Let him off the hook already. I mean, a billion cows. There's a billion cows being killed on the planet every year. You want to talk about oppression, by the way? I don't think there's a free cow on this planet besides certain parts of India. That is massive oppression. If a cow escapes, like Jefferson did, they ran him down. They didn't let him be free. We had to intervene and beg the police. Will you please give him to take a, this guy ran for his life. Don't send him back to the slaughterhouse. This is oppression on different levels. Humans have never known oppression like this. Humans have never suffered like this, and humans have suffered.
Yeah. Yeah, I think getting to the root of how we could take this concept and extend it to all animals, not just selective dogs or cats that people happen to own. I'm curious as to what is it, just because I've never owned a dog or a cat, what is it that really attracts people to getting an animal in their house in the first place? I would think that it has to be a source of joy and a source of love. And I had a cousin say to me the other day, the dog's the only one who respects me around here. I come home, everyone ignores me except the dog. The dog's my favorite member of the family at this point. So I think it's the central idea is to increase the amount of love and affection in the house and create a point of camaraderie for the rest of the family. We all love and respect the dog. So is it literally bringing the animal into your life increases the amount of love, and you could continue to increase the amount of love, which you obviously are already in search of? That's why you bought the dog or the cat or even dogs you come across, you pet and are patient with and are kind to. Is it literally an operation to increase the amount of love the person could receive if they just extend it to cows, chickens, and
Sure.
pigs? Like, it could literally benefit, just as me being nice to the dog benefits me because I get to have the dog's love in my life. Could I personally benefit by extending that to cows, chickens, and pigs? I'm just trying to wrap my mind around how to
Sure.
really
Listen,
convey
again,
this to people.
there are people on this planet with pigs as pets. They say the same thing
Yeah.
that people with dogs say, right? And there are people that have
Mhm.
rescued chickens and said, "Man, this chicken sits on my lap when I'm on the porch all day long, and he lets me pet him and he snuggles with me." Dogs and cats do have this cuddly quality about them, which is why we really like them. And cows don't always necessarily want to cuddle with you, although you can go online. There's plenty of images with cows cuddling. Go punch in my name, Sasha Farm, and sweetest ox. There's an ox at Sasha Farm named Bima, and he is the one in a billion cow. He will come up and cuddle with you, put his head on your lap, this huge, massive head, and he will purr. I didn't know. I didn't know bovines could purr. He's in the video. He's purring. Go watch the video. I'm rubbing his face. I'm like, is this cow purring? He's so happy and content. If we just gave them the same chance that we give dogs and cats, people would feel differently. That's why I would bring my meat eating friends to Sasha Farm. I said, go pet that pig. He's like, oh my God, he likes belly rubs. Go scratch his ears. Just like the dog, he likes a little ear scratch too. And so if we just gave them the same chance, but it shouldn't come down to that, right? They shouldn't have to be cuddly. They shouldn't have to
Mhm.
act a certain way. They should just be allowed to be whoever they want. Because let's face it, all the wild animals that people actually have an affinity for, they don't come up and cuddle us. And we still respect most of them, right? So most people want to go out and, well, man, if people see a fox, like, oh my God, there's a fox. Oh my God, there's a coyote. Like, whatever it is, they're like, well, I really like coyotes. People get coyote tattoos all the time, have coyote t shirts. Coyotes don't come up and snuggle. So an animal shouldn't have to be cuddly for you to love them. But just so you know, these animals certainly have the capability of being cuddly, and I've known chickens and turkeys and goats and sheep that come up and do want to snuggle, do want to put their head in your lap, do want an ear scratch or a belly rub or have their necks scratched. But you brought up getting something out of it. I know, are you referring like to the studies where they say, well, if people that have dogs are calmer, have less stress, there's things like that? You can get a benefit from, there's, isn't there horse therapy? Like people go out and hang out with a horse all day and they feel a lot better. You can go to a sanctuary, volunteer. How about this? Go to Sasha Farm, go to your local sanctuary, volunteer, help them clean up all the poop, help them feed and water the animals, and then go out there and feed them some apples and some carrots. In one of the videos online, punch in my name, Sasha Farm, Big Red. All I did for 10 minutes was feed Big Red a bag of apples. Do you know how happy it made me to shove an apple into this 2,200-pound creature's mouth? My God, like, this is so silly. I'm like, it's so amazing though. He took an apple out of my hand. He's 2,200 pounds. It's like this amazing experience that nobody wants to take part in. I don't know why people would rather see an animal dead than see him alive. Rather eat cow flesh than pet a cow. I used to be the same. I get it, brainwashed, programmed. I was taught not to care, but I'm so glad that I learned to care. And it's tough to care sometimes, especially when people argue with me, Keith. The first thing that goes through my mind is I wish I didn't know. Man, I wish my stepdad never took me to the circus. Life was so much easier when I was ignorant, when I had no idea. In fact, I used to be the life of the party. I was the shit growing up my whole life. No party. Gary don't show up, there's no party. Now, I always had the weed with me, but everybody liked my presence. And all of a sudden, I become vegan. People are like, Gary's a dick. Well, really? What happened to Gary? He likes pigs. What? Yeah, he likes chickens now, man. He's just tough to be around. Oh my God, I extended some compassion to some animals that needed it, and now people hate me. But when I didn't give a shit, but I didn't care, everybody loved me. But life is a lot easier walking around with blinders on. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm just being honest. That's what goes through my mind. I would never take back the knowledge that I had, but I don't want to fight. I don't want to scream. I don't want people to hate me. Who wants to be hated? But it goes along with the territory now after 29 years. I got enemies. I got fans. People call me. Do you know what used to melt my brain? This is no joke. I would get emails from students or emails just from the public because my stuff is online. Back to back emails. The first email would say, "You are like the Dr. Martin Luther King of the animal rights movement. You're like the second coming of Jesus. Oh my God, you've changed my life and my whole family." And then the next email, "You're Hitler. You're the fucking devil." I'm like, oh my God, how could I be Jesus and Hitler in the same day? Like, what is going on? My brain is melting. I was at University of Akron once, back to back lectures. First class tells me in Q&A, I'm Timothy McVeigh. I said, wait a second. The Oklahoma City bomber? The guy that killed 168 people? That's what you think? You're like Timothy McVeigh up there. Next class, you are Gandhi. I told the Gandhi class, I said, wait a second. Do you know the first class called me Timothy McVeigh? What? How could that? I said, I don't know. And it's not that I'm out to be Gandhi either. I realized over the years, Keith, it was no longer me and how I said things. It was how people perceived what I said, if people were ready to hear the message. It was never me. So I'm glad I never sugarcoated things. There's no way I can give the same lecture in one day and have one class say I'm Timothy McVeigh, one class say I'm Gandhi, and have it be my fault. It was they came in that classroom not willing to listen. They came in didn't want to hear. In fact, I was at University of Central Florida when I finally figured this out. I had a student raise his hand in Q&A and he said, man, you're up there all arrogant. You come in here, think you're high and mighty. Nobody cares what you have to say. Nobody likes you. Now, one of my gifts for when I was lecturing, I walk into a classroom, instantly know if it was good or bad. Each person, I go, good, 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 bad, on the fence, good, bad, good, bad. 100% right. I had this class pegged as a really good class. So I said, I don't think people agree with you. He said, no, everybody agrees with me. I said, okay, I'm a fair guy. Let's do a vote. Who agrees with this guy? 7 people raised their hand. I said, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, well, that's interesting, though, because there's 40 people in this classroom. Let me count real quick again. Da, 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 da. Go. That's 33 people that don't agree. So maybe the problem isn't me. Maybe it's you. You, and I pointed towards all you guys came in today not willing to listen. How could I give the same speech and 33 people say it was a good speech, 7 people say it wasn't? And I'm not saying I converted all 33 people to veganism. I'm saying that there wasn't a divisive comment from those 33 people. They were thankful for the information. So what I heard from the professors was, again, I think I mentioned it, 50% of the crowd I was converting, 15 to 20 minimum, even on bad days, and 25% making a drastic change. There was only about 25% after my lectures that didn't take anything away. And for that, I don't know what to do, man. I don't know what to say, what I could have said differently. I racked my brain for years. I only slept 2 hours a night for 25 years trying to figure out what could I say? How could I say this so people will understand? How could I reach everybody? And it's heartbreaking because I had to come to the conclusion that I can't reach everybody. I can only reach some people. But those are the people that I'm out there trying to preach to, those people. And I'll get to the other people later on, or maybe they'll just fall into place like we talked about earlier with the tipping point. I don't know, but there are so many people that are thirsting for this knowledge. that I'm just trying to reach those people. People like me. I used to be the same way. I never thought about where my food came from until somebody pointed it out to me. And talk about not being defiant. I'm sorry. I know I ramble. The moment I became vegan, I was vegetarian for a year, 1995. I go to a March for Animals in DC in 96. A group of people at the hotel come in, Texans for Animal Rights on their shirt, about 20 people. I jump up. I say, hey, I'm Gary from Michigan. How you guys doing? Hey, Gary, where can we get a good veggie burger? Oh, Hard Rock Cafe right down the street. I just had it. It was so good. But Gary, that's not a vegan burger. So what do you think happens to mother cows when they can't give milk anymore? Oh, my comment was, oh, I was wrong. They were right. It made sense. What happens to mother cows when they can't give milk? They don't get to run off in the pasture. They get sent to the hamburger factories. So my response, again, I didn't know it wasn't defiance. Bullshit. What do you mean? But cows deserve it. I said, oh, man, and I was mad at myself, not them. Oh my God, how did I miss this? So I was always thankful for the information. And again, at least half the crowd was always thankful, and half the people I speak to in general are always thankful for it. It's the other half I don't get. And I have friend, my oldest friend of four. We've been friends since we were 8 years old. Darren still is not vegan to this day. Now, he doesn't fight with me about it. He doesn't argue with me. He brings up some of the things you were bringing up because Gary, it's just habit, man. I don't know if it was available in more places, I'd do it. But everything I said in my speech kind of was like inspired by him because he would
Mm,
say everything
yeah.
right but not do anything. In fact, there's a section where I said, you guys have to walk the talk. You can't just put a coexist bumper sticker on your car. You can't just wear a what would Jesus do bracelet. But that's based on Darren's life, that he says everything, understands everything, but doesn't do a damn thing to make a world of difference. So I don't understand that mentality. We're still friends. People out don't think I don't have meat eating friends. When I'm at the gym, there's only a couple vegans there. I know everyone at the gym. I walk in, hey Adrian, hey Big John, hey what's up Mike, hey Chris, how you doing? What's up Natalie? What's up Kat? I know everybody. They know me. I get along with everybody. So it's not that I don't have acquaintances and friends that are meat eaters. Now I don't understand them. At the end of the day, I'm like, I told Chris about this. What is he? And he says too, because you're right about everything, Gary. I said, well, why don't you change? I don't know. I don't. God, people are so lazy. But that's Darren's life. Darren tells me if you live with me, I'd be vegan all the time. I go, you act like I'm making like I'm this 5-star master chef. I'm boiling a pot of water and putting a cup of barley in there. You can't do this? This is difficult to you, boiling water? You need me to be there to boil water? But a lot of people are like this, man.
Uh, I am wondering if that's a Malcolm X lesson about being friends with everyone, even if you disagree with them. Malcolm X was famously friends or had a good relationship with George Lincoln Rockwell, the founder of the American Nazi Party, and he was still able to get along. There's even a video of them having
Yeah.
a friendly back and forth. What was it about Malcolm X that really stood out to you that you thought was important to extract, embrace, and replicate to inspire your speeches?
Tenacity,
Mm,
truthfulness. He didn't let anybody off the hook. When it was time to preach,
mm,
I mean, as one of his famous lines is, Plymouth Rock didn't land on us, right? And we didn't land on Plymouth Rock landed on us. I mean, just the way
that's a funny one.
the poetry, the poeticness, the engaging the crowd, using harsh truth and sarcastic humor, whatever it was, or getting along with everybody, willing to talk to everybody. Now you'll notice too, or probably remember when he first started, he refused to have white people help him. He had that trip to Mecca. He comes back from Mecca. Now he wants white people to help him. So I kind of went through this myself, which is funny. It just over my retirement, and I came back out, and now I'm open and I'm more willing to not infight with the vegans anymore. I want to reach across the lines even more and talk to people. So, but his tenacity, man, is the same. That's where I get my tenacity from. Just I am not backing down, and I'm going to say what needs to be said, no matter how radical it is. Remember, Malcolm X and Dr. King were at odds about pacifism, and it wasn't that X was talking about going out and killing somebody, but he was saying we have a right to defend ourselves if you are attacking us. And that was my position when I wrote a paper called Empathy, Education, and Violence, that there are certain situations where I'm not going to lay down and have you walk all over me. If you're attacking me, I'm going to attack back. Or if you're attacking my clients, because I don't consider myself to be a spokesperson for the animal rights movement. I'm an attorney, and my clients are the cows, pigs, and chickens. So if I bust into a slaughterhouse with guns drawn because you got knives to their throats, wait, I'm the one that's rescuing and saving and helping. This is retaliatory, justifiable violence. I'm telling you, you drop your weapons. So I got this from Malcolm X belief that, hey, if the cops are going to beat us, no, we have a right to beat the cops back. Now, if you want to be a pacifist like Dr. King and get beat up by cops, that's your choice too. It's not my choice. It's not that I don't respect it. I just don't understand it. So, man, X was just he was such a go getter, and of course I'm always going to root for the underdog. Everyone was on King's side. I was on the underdog side. Everybody was rooting for Dr. King, and nobody understood Malcolm X, man. But if you listen to some of his speeches and watch some of his old interviews, man, he was as eloquent as Dr. King was. People just didn't give him a chance. He was misunderstood, but he was just as important to the black movement as Dr. King was. And I think everybody understands that now, but during his time, he wasn't viewed that way. And I think posterity will bear testimony that I was right as well, as many people think that I'm too radical or I'm too much this, or Gary shouldn't make Holocaust comparisons. Gary shouldn't make slavery comparisons. Gary once called not the crowd a bunch of Nazis to the animals. Well, the truth is, I was quoting somebody else, Charles Patterson, when he wrote a book called Eternal Treblinka, where he said that the animals view humans as Nazis. And there are a lot of Holocaust survivors that actually ended up becoming vegans because they lived the life of an animal. I often thought that people who went through oppression always understood this more. I loved crowds of black people, gay people, of women, people that were oppressed. It was easier to explain oppression to them. I got to tell you, the worst crowds is when I walked in and there was nothing but white males. I'm like, oh my God, is there a black person on this campus? University of Akron was always a tough place. It was like, it was just white males all the time. I'm not saying I didn't reach them. I'm not saying they were unreachable. I'm saying tough crowd, all white males. Easy crowd for me, all black people. Philadelphia Community College, Oakland Community College back in Michigan. Some of my best crowds. It was wonderful. But man, a white male crowd was tough because white males have usually been the oppressors since the beginning of time. Harder to explain oppression to them. Not unreachable, just harder. Like,
Aren't the majority of vegans white?
I don't know these days. I got to tell you, there's a massive amount
Is
of
it not?
black people that are vegans right now. Massive amount. So I don't know. And if you go around the world, I don't think so. There's a massive amount of vegans in India. There's a massive
Okay.
amount of vegans elsewhere too, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that how accurate that is.
So, the biggest thing at the gym when I talk to other guys, the biggest hesitation they have with going veg, as you call it, which is a very good term, by the way, is terrified of not getting enough protein, as we mentioned earlier. This is what comes up when I look up high protein plant based foods: quinoa, edamame, peanut, beans, lentils, peas, almond, industrial hemp. Do you know what
Yeah.
industrial hemp is? I don't
Well,
even know
actually,
what.
hemp is a great product. It is high protein. I used to put hemp protein powder in my smoothies. So hemp is a very high protein food. You want to get hemp seeds though, hemp seeds, and add those to your smoothie.
And chickpeas, there is a great dish at Pita Jungle that's just like a chickpea and lettuce salad.
Yeah.
Seeds, is this what where would the barley family be? I'm not
Grains.
seeing that would
Grains.
be in this grain section.
Yeah.
Okay. Oats, tofu.
Yeah.
Um, I've never had tofu, but I'm assuming all the stuff you could find online with how to cook tofu and everything
Absolutely.
else. But
And
yeah,
remember, treat
those
tofu the same way you treat meat. That's the key. Cook it the same way. Spice it up and cook it the same way you like to cook all the meat.
and then until it's like what do you compare like a medium rare to when it comes to tofu? Just some sort of
Chicken.
coloring?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah.
If you spice it up the right way too, you can mimic certain tastes that you want. Now, some people are like, well, I don't know, it still tastes like tofu, doesn't taste like chicken, whatever. If you cook it right, keep in mind, people like meat because it tastes good, okay? We like the way it's prepared.
Yeah.
Anything that's prepared right will taste good. So cook up the tofu in the right way, and you'll be like, you know what? Okay, it doesn't necessarily taste like chicken, Gary. It doesn't taste like turkey, like you said, but you know what? It tastes pretty good. It's a nice taste. Sometimes you got to get used to it because you're not used to it, especially when you have preconceived notions like, oh, this is going to be gross. Don't go in to something thinking, oh, it's going to be gross. And we've done that through our lives, whether it was vegan food or not. Like growing up, I hated meatloaf. This is the thought of it. My mom would have some. I'm like, oh, it's gross. I already made it gross before I had it. And this
Yeah.
mind is right. This mind of ours is fucking crazy. It
Yeah.
can make us happy, make us sad, make something taste good, make something taste gross. A lot of times people go in having a closed mind, but chickpeas, I've been eating chickpeas since I was a kid. I used to snack on Hanover chickpeas. I still remember the brand. I would open up a can of Hanover chickpeas when I was a kid and just eat all the chickpeas. Chickpeas are a great source of protein and iron and calcium, a lot of great things. And when you go to an Indian restaurant, chana masala, my favorite dish. Keep in mind all the ethnic restaurants when you're thinking, oh, there's nothing to eat in this town. You got ethnic food, so half of the Indian restaurant, half of the menu is going to be vegan. There's lentils on there, chana masala, aloo gobi. There's cauliflower dishes. There's potato dishes. You go to a Middle Eastern joint, falafel, tabbouleh, hummus, majedra, fattoush. Half the menu of Middle Eastern joints are going to be vegan. Thai food, Asian
Mhm.
food, right? You can
Yes.
add tofu instead of meat. Just make sure they're not putting in fish sauce or shrimp sauce, something to the curry. You can get it veganized there at nearly all the joints that are out there. Italian food. Keep in mind, real pasta doesn't have eggs in it. Now you got to check and make sure the
Mm.
Italian joint is not putting eggs in the pasta in the noodles. But you get a real noodle. It should just be flour, yeast, and water. So you can get a tomato type of Italian dish. You can get a pizza without cheese. Or you can get in most joints these days, they have the vegan cheese. Now, keep in mind, not all vegan cheese is created equal, but Violife is a cheese that came out a couple years ago. It's knocking everybody's socks off. Or Daya. If most restaurants now offer the vegan cheese option, you'd be shocked at how amazing that it tastes. And some of the joints even have some of the mock meats. You can get mock bacon and mock sausage on there too. So don't think there's not a lot. Subway veggie subs. I mean, listen, not the greatest thing, but it's a salad on a bun. I'm just bringing this up because I've been in rural America on my lecture tour, and it's been late at night, and there was like, oh, there's nothing to eat. Oh, well, there's a Subway. There's always something to eat, or I can go to
Yeah.
7-Eleven. Ritz crackers, peanut butter are vegan. So not my favorite meal, not the healthiest meal in the world, but I could grab some Ritz crackers and some peanut butter. And tonight I'm having Ritz crackers and peanut butter for dinner because it was 11 o'clock at night. I had a late lecture. Okay, the students kept me after class. Once you realize what's vegan, you can always find vegan food no matter where you're at. And again, ethnic foods are a great food to fall back on. Ethiopian food, that's one of my favorite things. Back in Michigan, the
Mm.
Blue Nile Ethiopian restaurant, it would be a vegan feast. Yellow split peas, red lentils, spicy red lentils, cabbage, potatoes, carrots, cold green lentils, and a big salad right in the middle. It's all you can eat, man. You just stuff your face till you can't eat anymore. There's so many great things to eat out there. Once you realize it doesn't have to be hot dogs and hamburgers and cheese all the time, which is what most people eat, and pizza, there's a lot of food out there that doesn't involve cruelty, doesn't involve torture, doesn't involve exploitation.
Check out sashafarm.org. Link will be in the description. Gary Yourofsky, thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you so much for listening, Keith. I really enjoyed it, man. Thank you.